Thomas Grassl. Hey, all of you know who he is, so I'll just summarize. He's the head of our developer relations at SAP and also the lead of the SAP community for developers. Yeah. So thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise for me because Gregor called me, like, when was it, like a week ago? He emailed me like, okay, I have a surprise for you. Can you talk about what you guys are doing in developer relations and community? SAP community, it's a new topic. I think a year ago I was here, I was talking about developer relations and stuff we did at TechEd. And then 3 months later, like January 1st, my boss, who is Björn Görke, he came to me and was like, I need some help with the SAP community. You want to take that one on? And since January, I can tell you I had a very busy year so far, especially like to really look into like the broader SAP community beyond just the developers. Like our focus was very much like initially it's just like let's go after developers in the SAP Cloud Platform, ABAP, UI5, etc., and really focus on this audience. But then the thing is like when the community came in, I realized pretty quickly like SAP community or former SCN or former SDN is a lot of like technical people, developers, sysadmins, functional people. So it's, see, like, I haven't switched it off, so tweet some fun stuff there. Now, so it's a lot of like similar needs what the community had. So the team I assembled around the community and the developers was a lot focusing on what do they need. We had a lot of experience on, especially on the developer side, okay, there's no marketing, like people want to have the facts, and we looked at the same stuff also from the SAP community. I hired someone who is an analyst and does also data science, so I spent about 2-3 months on like digging deep down into community data. And there's like, was the first surprise for me, we had all the data back to 2004 when the community was launched. So that helped us a lot to see like the up and downs of the community, and there was also a lot of voices like this is not working, that's not working. And so we took like the plans which were out for the community really, so like, okay, let's put everything on the table. Let's look at the data and let's make the right decisions on how we want to move the platform forward. And then also like what we need to do more with the SAP community. And also when I talk about SAP community, it's not just this thing, like sap.com/community, it's also this thing. I guess it's like so many people are outside active in different forums, in inside tracks, in Mentor, in Stammtisch, and it's more than just the platform. The platform definitely helps us to do a lot, but we also need to look into the programs which are happening in the world outside of the platform. So coming back, we realized a few things. So one was majority of the community comes to the community to find an answer. Well, shouldn't be too surprising, but it's like, it's massive. And you see this now, we also list some of these stats out here. They're not fully dynamically, I'm working on this with the team, but one big number is there's about 2.8 million people coming to the SAP community every month. So these are unique people coming for a question, for a blog, to the SAP community. Every month. That's per day about 270,000. And I can tell you about 80% go into Q&A and archive questions right now. I'm saying archive questions right now because that's a work in progress we're tackling next. And so there's a lot of like activity going on like where people want to have their problems resolved and also like share a lot of the things. So we then had another thing in May, and I guess maybe some of you were also involved in your company. That was the 4-letter word, GDPR, which honestly, I had a crash course on GDPR in about the first 3 months when I took on the community, because I had no idea how much this would even impact us. So it's a lot of the things that we need to ask for consent. So that's why you see not like all the pictures anymore on the community, because like people need to give us the consent to show the picture, show the data about the thing. And there's also like something what we realized about the community is that people come in and be very active, but then also stop again, like for a year or two, and come back in again. Reason for that is most likely what we saw is that, yeah, like you worked on a project very closely in the SAP space, you were active, and then your project might moved on, or you took a sabbatical or something, and you were off. So we had a lot of like this, it's not like that there's always the same group in the community, they're moving very flexibly around in the community. So from the thing then we said like, okay, we need to do something, because that was also the biggest consent, what we heard from the community, nothing is happening. Why is SAP not taking this serious? And there's the next tweet, this is a good one. Okay, good. So why is it SAP not taking serious? So we took like the thing and I said like, let's focus on a few things and get this out to the community, and I'm glad that I'm here. We went just live with some of the updates of the community, and I also want to mention this here, and if you record this, we are not done. So this is the first step. We pushed out, we said like, let's put a timeline in place like for a ticket. It always helps inside SAP if you say like, I want to do this by ticket, and then the machine runs towards that thing. So we got these first updates out. So few things, as you have seen, maybe on, if you go to sap.com/community, is like, yeah, we're focusing much more on the questions. So you can like type in a question right there. You can also like we also started to highlight things again. That was there in the old community like longer time ago. And what we realized that people really go a lot for this content in the past. We stopped doing this. I don't know why. There was like lists in there, but nobody really engaged with these lists. So you want to see like, okay, what is SAP having? Like what is, and there's like topics like see like how often ABAP is on here. That's what we realized we need to do more. Right now, this is manually. We're definitely looking into what is trending in the community. So we also don't see us like as the shield in between what goes live. So we're really looking into what is trending in the community to bring this up. And then of course you can go into the details. So let me go into one of it. It's like the Q&A. This was, so I get a lot of the question why you guys switched from discussion forums to Q&A. That decision was done 2.5, 3, 4 years back, where the team said like we're switching to Q&A. And we had a lot of like internal discussion, is it the right thing for the community or do we need discussion forums? The big difference between Q&A and discussion forums is like a Stack Overflow is a pure Q&A. And what you try with a Q&A system is to bubble up the correct answer. So someone has a question, and then we need to bubble up, like help with the community to answer this question. And the thing is why it is so important nowadays versus like discussion forums, it's Google. Because if you type in a question, and if you look at Google now, exactly, they also updated their schemas, you see already sometimes the correct answer popping up in Google. Like for community, this is my biggest audience. Everybody comes in, a lot of traffic comes in from Google, so we really need to focus on this. So we made the decision, no discussion forums, we stick with Q&A and we build out the Q&A. On Q&A, we're using an underlying platform that's AnswerHub, and that's used by Microsoft, by LinkedIn. There's multiple companies out there, so we also said there's a good platform underneath, so let's just put more of the out-of-the-box features up again. And as you can see now, this is live in the community. So few things what you see now, like, okay, if there is a correct answer, you see a green. That helps you. Like you can quickly browse through the community and see what's going on. You see also, like, for example, I want to just go into all unanswered questions. So now I'm like, okay, if I'm really going in, And I can do this also for my topics. Now you see that I'm glasses and not glasses. So HANA Express Edition. So this is like the tags I'm following. So if I want to go into, I don't know if it's switched already, yeah, HANA Express Edition. So now I see all the answers which are not answered. So this is like standard out of the box function from Answer Hub. And then also when you drill in, there's like certain things, you see related questions. So it's often like someone is putting a question out, you're seeing also related question. And this is like definitely like also the direction where we're going. In this case, it was already built in by the system, but this is also like something we want to do more in the community. So now imagine you have related blogs in here, or like you're going to a blog and you have a related question to that stuff. So we're always talking about AI and a lot of like smart things. There is a lot of possibilities in this stuff. So let me go back here to the community. So that was the Q&A system, and there's definitely, as you can hear, a lot of focus on this. Another thing, just to show off a little bit also here, is explore SAP developer and community events. I don't know if you found this one already, but you see like, okay, Europe is very active. Now I can drill into this. And now you can probably guess what is also on there. So there's Vienna, Munich, okay, and Barcelona. But for example, now let's go in. SAP Inside Track. So this is also like stuff we're looking into to better help and support the community. So if there is a question about like an event, what's coming up, and I know that Philip is here, like they're Inside Track, Netherlands, Copenhagen, Vienna. So there's like definitely things that we also see like the physical events is very important. Next thing we're looking into is also the Stammtisch, that we also promote the Stammtisch if these are happening, so that people get aware, like there's a group meeting and we can engage with these ones. So let's going back to the community, which brings me to my last item I just wanted to highlight is featured community topics. So this I must say is currently a construction zone, but we decided to put it live. It always was there in the meantime. It was called topic pages. And now if you look into it, what we are doing is we're bringing more active topic pages back. So in the past it was more of like, okay, here's a list of the blogs and Q&A for these things. We're right now working with the experts on the SAP side, so this is mostly product teams, product management, to really fill these topic pages. Right now, I would say we're still in the first thing, but we really want to get the old space concept back, that you can go in there, you find like who is the expert in this area, like what are the trending topics, etc. So this is what we're doing. There's about 70 pages live right now. The goal for us is we need to probably, I think I can tell you there's about 800 top tags in the community. So I don't think we will get to 800, but like that's the model what we want to push live with the community again. So that was a lot on the community. Like as I said, like we started to push things out. The other thing is what I'm looking right now with the team is also that there's continuous updates. So we heard about the continuous delivery, deployment, and that stuff. So I'm also like looking at that from the community. We got a lot of like feedback already from the first thing we pushed out end of September. Like we forgot some pages, for example. But that was also like something which woke up a lot of folks inside SAP because we went live, and if people were not responding to our requests in the past, we was like, okay, your page is not going live then. And so we also collected a lot of like internal friends. Initially they were a little bit angry, but now they're like, oh, we need to work with you guys because when you did not have our page up, that wasn't good. So this is really important. So and that also brought it up for a lot of folks internally to look a little bit more. The other thing, I don't know how much time, I have a few minutes, is like, as I said, it's community and developer. So developer relation, that's where we really target much more to work with the developers out there to get them the right information. And the first big update is, if you now look at the URL, we finally got, after 3 years fighting internally, our own URL. So it's developers.sap.com. It's kind of like an industry standard that, like, like, okay, if I want to get the developer content, I can go to this space and I find it from Google, from Microsoft, and also now from SAP. What is interesting, like, so this site is now the anonymous homepage, and it's there, like, hopefully in the next 2 weeks there's also an authenticated homepage coming. So let me talk about the anonymous one. This is like often what we see: someone comes into SAP and they have a question and they don't know, like, that's Open UI5 and Fiori, like if someone comes in from the outside, they don't know. So, but that's what we basically group more together, that we say, okay, there's cloud development, and then we give you the right information. So we can list, like, the different products which are in this area. We can give you some tutorials. So this is more like looking where the people are and pick them up and drive them into the right thing. So now if I go, for example, cloud platform, this is like we had this already previously there, cleaned it up a little bit. So you can have the details about the product. Also, like, we're looking a lot that we're getting real developer content. So this is not some marketing stuff. Really working a lot with the product teams, developer relations to build this up. And you get the information, and then you can get also, like, all the tutorials. Which brings me to this big thing, like tutorials. I can navigate over here. So this, now you see, like, all the tutorials related to the cloud platforms. Let's go over to the tutorial navigator. And there is the tutorial navigator. And this is probably the hottest selling cookie in this whole developer center. We launched the tutorials about 3 years back. And I'm getting all the kudos from SAP.com, like, web team, because that site really takes off. Thanks to everybody out there, because people really like the step-by-step tutorials. So what we have introduced now new is, next to the tutorials, which are single step-by-step walkthroughs, then we have the groups. So they group some tutorials together. Let's say I want to learn HANA, install HANA, and I have a group around install HANA. And the new thing is the green one. This is tutorial missions. And maybe you have seen some of them. Let's go for a simple one. Get started, Data Hub. Now, of course, let me get a simple one. Cloud platform. Then I know there's one. Where is it? Yes. You can filter, but, like, you see now, like, there's much more in there. So it can have multiple groups, but then also, like, it routes you into the right thing. So this is like the application programming model under a cloud platform, and you get a full tutorial overview or a group. And now if you go into the details of this, we give you a little bit more guidance. So now you see, for example, how far I'm progressed. So I just start this. We also, when we ask you to log on, then we also track this information for you. And this goes, like, later on, if you come back, you see that you're at 20%, 30%. So you always come back into the same environment. So this is a lot of, like, where people are like, okay, now I can continue. The other thing is what we're doing. It's still a little bit of manual or batch process. So like, after 30 days if you have finished a complete mission, you will get a badge, and you have this badge in the community, and then it shows up into your profile. So that's then under all the reputation. You will see then also, like, the badges for these missions popping into. So it's a little bit like also gamification around it, making people come back and trigger this. And I can tell you there's in the thousands of views on these tutorials per month. So people are really using this, and now with the latest with the missions, we saw this, we just rolled it out last week, or beginning of October. There's a lot of interest to do more. So that's where we are. There's definitely a lot to do, and that's also what the team knows going forward. So one thing is like for us, what we definitely for the near term look into, like, okay, there's continuous improvement coming into community and developer center. So if you see right now like minor bugs, let us know, or like put something in, but like maybe like come back after a week and you might hopefully see already some things resolved. So that's what we're working on. The other thing is like from a developer program, we also grew in the team a little bit. So there's Marius and Maxi here now in Munich. So we have evangelists. Like they're shy still a little bit back there. They're like, okay, they're not shy. But it's also good, like that was also like for us that we really have the more manpower to really like on the one hand like help developers like take the content in. It's also often, and this is like a big role for us, is that we take the information we hear and see out there back into SAP. So like in the past, it was like we call us like developer evangelists or developer relations, but it's a relation thing. This is what's more important for us, that we like, okay, we hear this, we see this, and this is exactly like also why we are in the CTO organization and not in the product organization. We can go back and really say like, this is happening and that's happening, we should focus on this. And a lot of the topics, like being it with the cloud platform and the mentor program where we pulled them in and said like, okay, cloud platform, ABAP on cloud platform, there's a lot of questions out there from the mentors. Let's get them connected in with the product team. And Gregor was helping us, and various other mentors. And that's also where I saw the change inside the company, where they're like, these people really know this stuff and they can help us, and they helped us refining. And that's the direction we also want to grow more on the developer relations side. And with that, I don't know, let's see if there's a question. Yeah. There's a question. No, that's the red sign. Okay. But questions? If not, enjoy the beer. Thank you.
Thank you.